Joanna, and my channel is created by Lady T, and in this channel I talk about quilting, sewing, and crochet, and I also give product reviews. Today I am going to talk about my koala table. Is it really worth the money? So I have a few things to say about this. So I've had this koala table for 2 years now. I really wanted it. It is particularly important if you have a really large machine and you have an expensive machine to have a nice table. So I have a Bernina 770. I at some point want to move up to the Bernina 790. That's my goal as far as what I want from a sewing machine. And when I first got this Bernina, I had another table. It was also a sewing table, but it didn't have quite the features that this koala did. And also the wood was not as strong as this koala table's wood is. Now the wood is very strong. I'm going to show you all the different parts of it in a minute. And it's a really good sturdy table. It's very convenient if you have these large sewing machines. It's not just for the Bernina machines, it's for other machines as well, that if you pay a lot of money. And I won't name those brands, but there are other brands that are equally expensive that require a really good table. Now, getting back to the question, is it worth the money? So the money was really a huge investment in this table. The table, I bought the table, and it's the embroidery one, and no, it has a little section to put my embroidery things, but there's another one where you could put your embroidery module in there. I didn't get that. I just got the regular table. I'll put the description link. I'll put the link to the description at the bottom of my video. But then I also got a separate cabinet to put my embroidery module in there, because if you do have the Bernina, you have to get the separate cabinet. And I'll show you how that looks like. So I actually have two cabinets. I have the sewing table and I have the separate cabinet for the embroidery module. So this was not cheap. This was expensive and this was expensive. It was a huge investment. They do come with casters, and when they were delivered delivered fully assembled. All the delivery people did was put the casters on. With that being said, it was delivered by a white glove delivery service. That's not just like any old movers. They're like a really expensive white glove. They wear white gloves. They're very careful with the product. And really, if you buy it and you have it at your house, this setup, if you're gonna move, you can't just use a regular movers to move this. You're going to, and you can't do it yourself either, unless you have family members that are very capable of doing such a thing. If you're gonna go take this on the second level, that is also something to consider. The white glove delivery service, they provide a really wonderful service where they bring it to the room. If it has to go upstairs, they're very careful with it. Now there is some electrical parts to it, I will show you, of the sewing table that you have to be really careful with. As far as the embroidery cabinet, this second cabinet, it doesn't need that much, it doesn't need the kind of consideration that this one needs, but it does need some gentle handling, let's put it that way. So it's a huge investment. For me, I did put a lot of money into this, both the table and the cabinet. I invested a lot. I've invested a lot in my Lavern and Shirley table as well. I have a video on that. So to me, these tables are huge investments. And with that being said, I plan to keep these tables for the rest of my life. this is not something that I'm just going to keep for about 10 years and discard. I am planning to keep this for the rest of my life. And that means that I'm going to take very good care of them. Now, is it worth the money? For me, yes, it's worth the money because, first of all, it's a lifetime investment. So if I look at it, if I'm going to have this for 30 years, I mean, you know, I have to consider my age. I'm 58. How long will I be sewing? Well, I'm hoping to be sewing for another 30 years until I'm 88, maybe I'm 90. So I'm hoping to keep, I've already had these for 2 years. 32 years, I think I'm going to get a really good investment. So my plan is between 88 and 90 to keep these products for my age. Now, if you have trouble, if you're struggling financially, and you manage to get a Bernina machine, the cheaper cabinets might be better for you. Like the Lavern and Shirley cabinet was only $1,800, whereas the Koala cabinet was $5,000. The Koala table was $5,000, and the cabinet was another $2,000. So that's a lot of money. If you are struggling financially, you have to think about this. I have a 770, and for this, I really wanted a really good table. And since I spent so much money on my 770 with the embroidery module, and I am planning to get an even more expensive machine in the future, because I did that, I think that these cabinets are well worth the money for me. Now, you have to work in your own price range, and you have to see what works for you. And that's why, you know, you shouldn't really push yourself financially if you can't afford it. You could finance it if you want to finance it, but then you have to think about all your other bills. Now, I'm lucky enough not to have children. And well, I'm not saying I'm lucky. That's not really the way I meant to say it, but financially, I have a little more leeway because I don't have children. Let's put it that way. And so therefore I can spend a little bit more money on myself. And these were really big splurges for me. And honestly, since I bought these machines and I bought these tables, I really don't travel. I don't do much. I'm very frugal in my lifestyle. So it's not like I blow my money on other things. I don't spend money on entertainment too much. I don't really go out to dinners. So I'm really careful of how I spend my money in other ways, because I put such an investment in this sewing room is where all my money really pretty much goes. So it depends on your finances as well, but I found that the Koala table was well worth my money and a good investment for me to have until I'm in my late 80s, early 90s, which is what I'm hoping to have it for that long. And I am hoping to sew that many years. With that being said, we don't really know the future again, but you know, what can you do? You just plan for the future with whatever knowledge that you have for the moment. So I have had little to no difficulty using this Koala table. And for me, since I'm not going to switch to a machine that's really much larger than the one I have, except the 790, because I've pretty much decided, as far as I'm concerned at the moment, and I don't know how the future is going to be, but I like the 700 series of the Berninas. I like the 770, and I really like the 790. So I'm planning to stay within that size range. I've already made that decision. I've been thinking about it for a while now. However, if you are planning to get a Bernina 990, which is like their new super machine, you wouldn't be able to use this table for that. You would need another table. And so if you're planning like in the next 2 years to get a Bernina 990 and you get this Koala table right now, it isn't worth it, because you would have to give it up and get a new table. So those are some things to consider. And I really thought about all of these things before I, made this video of is the Koala worth the investment and worth the money? And I was thinking about for myself, like, How much money do I want to invest in my sewing room? What do I want? What do I need? What is there for me that is useful? So I've thought about all of this, and I pretty much know that I'm going to stay in the 700 series of the Berninas. Now, again, I plan to have this until I'm in my 80s. I don't know. Maybe Bernina will come up with something in 15 years that's really radical and different. Technology is always changing. And I'm not the kind of person that just follows the trends of the technology either for the sake of following the trend of the technology. I really like to consider what I like and what I need, and not just follow all the trends in itself. With that being said, I am going to show you all the details of this table and the cabinet and how it works for me. When I bought my Koala table, I got this really cool light for free with it. It's been something I've been using a lot more than I thought I would ever use. And it's just this cool light that just goes right over the sewing machine. So as I'm working on my sewing machine, I can see much better. And I have a lot of lighting in this room. I have another light over here, and I have another light over here. I personally need a lot of lighting. So that's just something that works very well for me. Now this table, this Sew Steady table, it's a clear table, is an optional piece, and it fits with the 770. And it looks just like this, and I like the clarity of it. Now I like this because I can take this off and I can move the sewing machine up, and I can move this part up and down. So it's really easy to take out, and you just have to be really careful here. It's a clear piece. I like it. And then I have this area right here. Now there are some mechanics to this table. So I always leave the power off, but if I do the power on, the machine, the lever goes up, and I can have the table like this. Now I like it when it's like this when I'm using the embroidery module, and I'll just put the embroidery module on when I'm using the table like this. So that to me in itself is a wonderful convenience. And then when I'm moving these pieces, I have to be really, really careful. Another thing I really like is this area that I have for thread. So I have all this area for thread over here. Now I have a separate thread cabinet, and I have a video on that. I use this for my regular sewing and my serger thread. And this, I keep all of my embroidery thread, because when I'm working with my embroidery module, I like to have my embroidery thread nearby, and I only use OESD embroidery thread, and I kind of keep them with all their wonderful little colors so that I can find them easily. I also bought this separate thread holder. This is an additional purchase, and I use this mostly for when I'm using the embroidery, and I put all my embroidery colors on this. Right now I haven't done that. So as far as that's concerned, it's really wonderful. There's also another little storage place over here. Now this Koala table, they do come, there's another Koala table that comes with an insert for an embroidery module, but it won't fit the Bernina embroidery module. It will only fit other brands of embroidery modules. But what I have in here are hoops, and I have the tabletops of both my 480 and my Bernina 770. I have some other little hoops in here that I keep, and it's just really convenient. So I have my giant hoops here that I store, and then there's another little storage area down here that I just kind of put the covers to the machines. Now I'm really guilty of not covering my machines. I usually don't use the dust cover because I'm constantly using the machines, so I don't use the dust cover. I did put some of this tape. This is painter's tape. I put it here because I want to make sure that the positioning of my sewing machine is aligned well so that I can put this this piece back on. So instead of looking for it, I've just kind of aligned it so when I have to take the machine out to go get it serviced, and I actually just got it serviced last week, I have it positioned here so that when I put the machine back, it's really easy for me to put the machine in place, and then I can you know, work with this again. So that is just a lovely part of this table. It also comes with certain inserts, so it has height adjustables, and there's a piece here. So there's a few pieces here that I have that if you need a height adjustment, you could put a height adjustment at the bottom so that it's a little higher up for you if you are shorter. But this works beautifully for me. And then it has in the back, there is a leaf that if I wanted to, I could pull this back and I can take out the leaf and I would have a larger table to work with. This is why I really like having hardwood floors in my sewing room, because of these casters, and I can move them. Now, I'm not going to do this for you right now because it's a chore, and I don't have the energy, I'm really sorry, to move it back. But it's possible to do it. And that's one of the things that I really appreciate about this table. It takes a while to do it, and I have enough room in my sewing room so that I can pull this back. And what I really love is that everything in here has casters so that I can easily move things around, like my my table that I use for cutting. It has casters and I can move it around. And so this makes it really easy and functional for me, not functionable, functional. And so that is just a really wonderful part of having this koala table. Now, I bought this separate piece. This is the cabinet for the embroidery module. And I think this is only made for Bernina, but I'm not 100% sure. So you can check into that. But I needed it because I had to put I wanted to store my embroidery module, and sorry. Okay, so my embroidery module is right here, and what I have on top of it is my smaller hoops, and it stores it nicely for me, and it's really convenient. Now, before I had this, I had to put my embroidery module out, and I didn't like doing that. I like to put my embroidery module out, and this has this little separate cabinet, and it's in the middle part here. It's that middle one. And on the top, I put a bunch of sewing stuff for me. And in the bottom, this is where I put all my items for embroidery, and you know, as my all these stabilizers and everything, so they're all in one place and it fits really well, and I have a nice storage. So I like the fact that I have this storage. This also adds as more room for me because I've put this cabinet right next to the table. So if I am working with a large quilt, I don't always have to pull this back because I have all this storage space over here. I personally like to leave it alone. I don't like to keep things on top of this table because if I'm working, I want plenty of space to work with. So that's why I keep this as empty as possible up here. It just makes it much easier for me. And again, my lighting is very helpful. And I can also do a lot of things here, but I don't cut on this table at all. Because even though it's a nice sturdy table, I don't want to ruin it. So it's got really nice wood. it's a strong, stable wood, and it's really very nice and pretty. I ordered the white. This does come in other colors. If you have a different color, it comes, I think, in wood, the wooden color. If you like that, you can choose that. But I like my cabinets to all be in white. So I really like this table, and I really think for me it was well worth the investment to pay for all of these. And this was just one of my bigger splurges in my life. So really a wonderful thing to have. Sometimes I take advantage of it. Don't realize how lucky I am that I was able to get this table. That's my review on the Koala table. If you think that this would be a good investment for you, I suggest that you check it out. I have some links on where you can purchase it. Please make sure that when you get it delivered that you ask for white glove delivery service. Make sure that it's handled very well as it's being transported into your home. Also, the measurements for the table will be in the description of the product. Make sure that you have room for it before you order it. Make sure that your doorways are big enough to get inside your house. If you live upstairs, you're going to have, or if you have a room that's on the second floor, you're going to have to let the white glove delivery service know that, because they have to prepare and plan for that. So, you know, it's a really good idea to measure the room that you have and the space that you have before you actually make this investment. If you do, if you're planning to keep it for another 30 years, then it may be well worth it for you, and you will never have to buy sewing room furniture again. But again, it's a personal choice. So I give this a thumbs up, and I say, yes, it was well worth my money to get this. So if you like this video, give me a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel, Created by Lady T. Let me know, what do you sew on? Do you take your sewing machine out and put it away, or do you have a sewing cabinet? What do you do? Let me know. Put it in the comments. Until next time, bye.